This I Love Lucy episode was quietly banned. Here's why. There's a 26-minute episode of television that doesn't appear in most streaming catalogs. No disclaimer, no controversy warning, just silence where there should be laughter. The episode aired once in 1953, vanished for decades, and when it finally resurfaced, it came with an unspoken rule: play it quietly, bury it deep, never let it trend. The reason it was banned had nothing to do with censorship boards or network standards. It had everything to do with what Lucille Ball was willing to risk when the camera turned on, and what America was willing to see a woman become. The episode is real, the banning is real, but the story underneath it reveals something most people never understood about Lucy. She wasn't just a comedian. She was a woman weaponizing her own humiliation, and that weapon had a body count. Let's go back to the beginning, not to vaudeville or RKO contract players were the birth of I Love Lucy. Go back to the principle Lucy built her entire life on, the one she learned as a girl in Jamestown, New York, watching her mother work herself silent after her father died. The principle was simple. If you can make people laugh, they can't pity you. If you control the joke, you control the room. And if you're willing to destroy yourself for the laugh, no one will ever see you cry. That's not philosophy, that's survival. Lucille Ball wasn't born funny. She was born anxious, sharp-eyed, and desperate to matter. Her childhood was stitched together with moves, evictions, borrowed rooms, and the suffocating weight of being the oldest daughter in a family held together by willpower and shame. She learned early that being beautiful wasn't enough, being talented wasn't enough. You had to be willing to go further than anyone else would go, and you had to do it smiling. Hollywood taught her the rest. 2 decades of B-movies, chorus lines, platinum high-dye, gangster girlfriend roles. The studio system looked at Lucy and saw a body, a voice, a type. They never saw the brain, they never saw the rage, and they certainly never saw the plan forming behind those blue eyes, that if they wouldn't let her be a star on her terms, she would build her own empire and make them tenants. By the time I Love Lucy debuted in 1951, Lucille Ball was 39 years old and tired of waiting. She wasn't America's sweetheart, she was America's battleground. The show wasn't just a sitcom, it was a Trojan horse. Every pratfall, every scheme, every moment of physical comedy that made audiences howl was also a middle finger to every director who told her she wasn't leading lady material. The laugh track was the sound of her winning. But here's the part most people miss. Lucy's comedy wasn't safe, it was dangerous, and the danger was always aimed at herself. She didn't play the bumbling housewife because she believed in the role. She played it because it gave her permission to be feral, to be ugly, to be out of control, to smash her face into cakes, dangle from ledges, sob on camera, scream, beg, and fail in ways that would humiliate any other actress into retirement. She turned abasement into art, and America loved her for it because they thought she was in on the joke. She was, but the joke wasn't what they thought. The banned episode is called The Ballet, and before you assume it's some forgotten filler from season 2, understand this. It was one of the highest-rated episodes of the season when it first aired. The plot is pure Lucy. She wants to be in Ricky's nightclub show. He says no. She schemes her way into a ballet routine she has no business performing. Chaos, physical comedy, humiliation, applause. Standard formula, except for one scene. Midway through the episode, Lucy rehearses with a professional ballet instructor. The instructor is patient at first, then frustrated, then openly contemptuous, and Lucy, trying desperately to keep up, begins to fall apart.
Not the controlled, choreographed kind of falling apart that sitcom stars do, the real kind. Her face reddens, her breathing gets ragged, she stumbles, she crashes into the bar, and for just a few seconds, the humiliation stops being funny. The studio audience laughed, but it was a different kind of laughter, uncomfortable, uncertain, the kind of laughter that asks, are we supposed to be enjoying this? CBS aired the episode once, then quietly pulled it from rotation. No memo, no announcement. When the show went into syndication, the ballet wasn't included in most packages. When the DVDs were released, it was there, but buried deep in later seasons, out of order, like a landmine someone forgot to disarm. Streaming platforms today often skip it entirely or bury it behind content warnings that don't explain what they're warning you about. Why? Because the episode accidentally revealed the cost. Lucille Ball's entire career was built on a bargain. She would let you laugh at her pain as long as you never acknowledged it was pain. She would let you watch her humiliate herself as long as you never asked why she kept doing it. The ballet broke the contract. For a few seconds, the mask slipped, and America saw what was underneath: a woman destroying herself for approval.
Here's what they don't tell you in the I Love Lucy retrospectives. Lucy didn't just perform physical comedy. She performed injury. Sprained ankles, bruised ribs, a back injury that plagued her for years after a stunt gone wrong. She did take after take until her body gave out, because stopping meant admitting weakness, and admitting weakness meant losing control. Desi knew. The writers knew, the crew knew, but no one stopped her because the show was a hit and Lucy was the engine. If she wanted to break herself for the camera, that was her choice. Except it wasn't a choice. It was the only move she had left. The women who worked with Lucy tell a different story than the one in the official biographies. They talked about a woman who was generous, brilliant, and terrifying. A woman who demanded perfection because she had been denied it for so long. A woman who controlled every frame, every line, every laugh, because control was the only thing that kept the terror at bay. She didn't trust easily, she didn't rest, and she didn't forgive mistakes, especially her own. Vivian Vance, who played Ethel Mertz, loved Lucy and feared her in equal measure. She once said that working on the show felt like being in a war where you never knew if you were on the winning side. Lucy rewrote scenes, directed without credit, overruled producers, and fired anyone who didn't meet her standard. She wasn't cruel for cruelty's sake. She was cruel because cruelty was the only language Hollywood had ever spoken to her. And she had learned it fluently. Let's talk about what happened after the ballet disappeared. The show kept going. Lucy kept performing. The ratings kept climbing. But something shifted. The writers started pulling back on the physical stuff. The pratfalls got more controlled. The humiliation became more cartoonish, less raw. It was as if someone behind the scenes realized they had gone too far and decided to sand down the edges before anyone noticed the blood. But Lucy noticed, and she resented it. Because here's the paradox at the center of Lucille Ball's life. The thing that hurt her was also the thing that made her powerful. The willingness to be humiliated on camera gave her leverage. It made her irreplaceable. It made her the star. Taking that away didn't protect her, it neutered her. So she kept pushing, even as her body aged, even as the stunts got harder, even as her marriage to Desi collapsed under the weight of his drinking and her control. She kept finding new ways to destroy herself in public. Because the alternative, sitting still and being loved for something other than her pain, was unthinkable. The show ended in 1957. Lucy and Desi divorced in 1960. She kept working. The Lucy Show. Here's Lucy,
specials, guest spots. She never stopped. Because stopping meant confronting the questions she had been running from her entire life. Who was she when no one was laughing? By the time she died in 1989, Lucille Ball was one of the most beloved figures in television history, a pioneer, an icon, a trailblazer who proved women could run studios, own production companies, and dominate an industry that wanted them decorative and silent. But the people who knew her best tell a quieter story. They talked about a woman who worked until her body broke, who controlled every room she entered because she never felt safe in any of them, who made the world laugh until it hurt, and who died never quite believing she had been enough. The ballet episode isn't banned because it's offensive. It's banned because it tells the truth, that the cost of Lucille Ball's genius was Lucille Ball, that every laugh she gave us, she paid for in pain, that the woman who taught America it was okay to fail never forgave herself for a single mistake, and that the most dangerous thing a woman can do in Hollywood is let the audience see her breaking. The episode still exists. You can find it if you look hard enough, but most people don't. They prefer the Lucy they remember, the one who made it look easy, the one who smiled through everything, the one who never let you see the price. But now, you know, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Every stumble, every fall, every moment of humiliation played for laughs becomes something else. A woman screaming in a language no one wanted to translate. That's why they banned it. Not to protect the show, to protect the myth. If you want to understand the women who came after Lucy, the ones who learned that fame meant performance and performance meant pain, there's one name you need to know. But that's a story for another time.